afternoon, St. C. Welcome to STC Sports and Beyond, where we cover everything that's going on in the world of sports, both locally and professionally. And here are your hosts. I'm Joan DeGano.
I'm Ava Cook. And I'm Angel Hetherington.
In today's episode, we are going to talk about how March Madness is going, an update on the MLB lockout, and then talk with Caden Stout about his win at States, and how the rest of our local wrestlers did this season. So, what about the wrestling season? How'd those guys do?
They did pretty good. Caden Stout placed first at States in the 150-pound weight group.
Good for him. Yeah, he's been really pushing, been trying to keep to his goal this year. And a little later in the episode, we're going to have him on for an interview.
Along with that, Gannon also placed first at OVAX.
Nice. Good for him. Did he end up going to States?
Yeah, he went to States.
He placed 8th.
Oh, okay. Well, that's still pretty good.
He was in the 113 weight class.
Also, to add on to the to Caden's win at States and Gannon's placing 8th, 21 students for St. C have gone to States and placed, but they have not won. Caden Stout made school history by winning States. Heck of an achievement for him, and a heck of an achievement for the school. This guy, who we're about to talk to, just made school history, winning the first state championship ever in St. C history. Caden Stout.
Can you walk us through a typical everyday practice?
So I come in, get a good stretch out, I'll Theragun down, and then we'll start warming up. We jog for about 10 minutes, maybe stretch out a little bit, get a partner, start drilling, just kind of ease into things. And then towards the end of the season, after we drill for a little bit, we'll go live for a good half an hour, 45 minutes. Practices are usually pretty short towards the end of the season, an hour and a half. In the beginning of the season, they're usually 2 hours. So as we go, practices change, and they vary from day to day.
How do you feel during the season when it comes to cutting, gaining, or remaining the same weight, and what are some of the struggles?
Everybody's weight cut is different. Some kids have to gain weight. Some kids have to lose weight. Some kids just do whatever they want pretty much when it comes to weight. I'm one that has to lose weight. Towards the beginning of the season, it's pretty rough, and then I usually get my weight under control throughout the season. It's usually about working my way down throughout the week and making sure I'm eating really healthy, but eating, and getting good food in me before practice, after practice, recovering well.
So you talked about practice. So how does practice with wrestling compare with practice with soccer, and how do they differ?
Well, wrestling matches are only 6 minutes long, and it's a pretty tough 6 minutes, and then soccer's about 80 minutes for a full game. So wrestling's more of like go out there, go as hard as you can for 6 minutes, and soccer's a little more pace yourself throughout the game. And
was becoming a state champ a goal for you, or was it something you just ended up doing based on your season?
I told my parents at the beginning of the year my goal was to place top 4, because this is my 4th year qualifying, and I've never placed before. So my original goal was to place top 4, and then we came in, and with a lot of luck too. There's a lot of luck to winning a state title, but it kind of feels like I owed to a lot of people. It feels I didn't just do it by myself.
Yeah, and how does it feel that you just made school history?
It took a while to set in. I don't think it's still really kind of set in, but it feels good.
Who is one of your biggest supporters throughout your high school career?
My parents are definitely my biggest supporters. They do really well at kind of trusting me throughout the season, giving me my space and letting me focus on my diet and practice, and kind of making me be as stress-free as possible. And then definitely my coaches, they push me in practice, help me work hard, but then also do a good job of knowing when to kind of settle back and let us have some more fun. And yeah, they're a good balance of fun and pushing ourselves.
Thanks, kid. Update on the MLB. Opening day is April 7th. I'm super excited. The whole thing with the lockout ended up being there's a contract that everyone has to agree on. It's called the CBA, Collective Bargaining Agreement. And the players there doesn't need to be a agreed upon contract for games to be played. The owners were afraid that the players would go on strike mid-season and there wouldn't be a full season because there wasn't an agreed-upon CBA. So what the owners decided to do was they decided to have a lockout, which meant everybody, coaches, players, agents, trainers, were all locked out. Like, free agents weren't allowed to have contact with their agents or other teams trying to sign them. Players who are coming off rehab aren't allowed to work with their trainers. They have to work by themselves at home. So it was a lot of craziness that happened throughout those 99 days during the MLB lockout that just led to a new CBA and opening day happening April 7th. They will add 3 extra days to the end of the season. They will also add double headers throughout the year. And something that was agreed upon in the CBA that won't take place until next year is there is bigger bases. There's a pitch clock, hoping to speed along the game since normal games take around 2.5 hours to play, and some fans could get bored. But other than that, yeah. Season starts April 7th. March Madness, the craziness of March. There's a reason why it's called March Madness. College basketball, one of my favorite times of the year. Final Four teams, Duke, Villanova, Kansas, North Carolina, all historic Final Four and March Madness teams, all vying for a chance to win March Madness. March Madness as a whole, there are 64 teams, 32 Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, and the championship game. 32 games on one day, 32 on the next. Championship game is April 4th. Final Four happens April 2nd. There will be Kansas-Villanova at first, and then later in the day, Duke versus North Carolina. I'm a Duke fan myself. My father's a North Carolina fan, so that rivalry in the household is pretty fun. A couple updates for you around the league on Sweet 16 and then going into the Final Four and National Championship.
Duke had an incredible win against Texas Tech during the Sweet 16, as this was their 100th career NCAA tournament win.
And what a heck of a win for Duke, beating one of the best defenses in the nation in Texas Tech. And Coach K, last year, making it all the way to the Final Four, has to be a huge accomplishment. 13th all time.
After this game, Coach K had an emotional moment.
As for this, Coach K was very proud of those athletes that he had coached.
I think out of all the teams in this tournament, I think Duke has probably played the best. They've come out and they've just been firing on all cylinders. Rebounds, led the ACC in scoring. North Carolina's up there as an 8 seed, but Duke, I think, and I'm not saying this because I'm biased Duke fan, but Duke definitely, I think, has played the best in the tournament so far out of the 4 teams left remaining.
In the Final Four, Duke will be facing North Carolina for the first time in program history in the tournament.
Yeah, these teams are one of the biggest rivals in all of college sports. 257 all-time meetings between these two teams. And what's crazy is they've never met in the tournament. The closest they've ever been, besides this year now that they're facing each other, was 1991 when they each made it to the Final Four for the first time. Coach K is making his 13th career Final Four appearance, breaking John Wooden's record, UCLA's old legend head coach. The last 100 meetings from North Carolina and Duke in basketball is 50-50. These teams are as even as they come. It is crazy how close these games are and how competitive these teams are, even if their records aren't what they show. This year, North Carolina beat Duke by 20 points in Coach K's last home game at Cameron Indoor Stadium. But before that, North Carolina lost to Duke by 20 in Coach K's last game at Dean Smith Center. So this game is going to be tough. It's going to be hard fought. Hopefully Duke comes out with a win, but we'll see what happens. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to STC Sports and Beyond, brought to you by the Belmont-Harrison Career Centers and St. Clairsville High School. Be sure to follow Red Devil Productions on YouTube for all the latest releases from the Entertainment Marketing Program.